Hi everyone, my name is Cassandra. I am 24 years old and I currently live in the New York area. Now, most of you don't know me and I don't know most of you, but I'm here today to tell you a bit about my life. When I was younger, when I was 6 years old, my family moved out of New York. Honestly, right before 9/11. I was in first grade when that happened, right? And I was already in North Carolina. So to me, 9/11 wasn't as big of a deal for most New Yorkers. And all that, it wasn't as big a deal for me. I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, it's a big deal. But anyways, I moved to North Carolina, and I lived there with my mom and my dad and everything. My dad died when I was 8. After my dad died, my mom started getting sick again. Right. And, well, with my mom getting sick, I didn't really realize fully. I can admit that, except for, maybe the last year. And in between my dad dying and my mom dying and getting sick, I had my grandmother who died, a favorite aunt of mine that died, my half-sister that died. Honestly, a lot of people in my life have died. When I turned, just before I turned 13, when I moved in with my aunt after my mom died, I got really close to her sister-in-law. Well, she died, right? As time went on, I was listed the black sheep of the family. I got put in mental health housing, got put in adult mental health housing. Now, meanwhile, I've only had one psychiatric partial hospitalization before my aunt put me in the adolescent group home, right? And, well, I got kicked out of the agency because as a 24-year-old grown adult, I have friends and I'm hanging out and smoking. Well, that's a problem because I'm smoking marijuana. Because the rule is no smoking in the house. Okay, but what about the ladies who are smoking cigarettes that are in their 60s? What about the girl upstairs who snorts a line of heroin and throws up? Where's their kick out? Hypocrisy. Now, granted, yes, what I did warrant my kick out. I did break the rules. And what I feel like my family fails to realize is part of the reason they probably kicked me out when they're not kicking these people out is because they know I can live independently. I've proven it time in and time again. Yes, I have some financial problems. I'm really bad at balancing finances. I'm impulsive with certain things that I buy. But I feel like I've been getting better with that. Right? What is it? And of course, with mental health housing, they don't want you having animals. They don't want you drinking on the property. They don't want you doing this, that, the third. Okay, but I'm 24 years old. I've been in this agency since I was 18. And in an agency before that. Okay, I may not quote-unquote be normal, because being, normal is vastly overrated. Right? Everyone sees me as having such mental health issues, everything. Honestly, the only things I'm legally diagnosed with at this point is bipolar and ADHD. The main symptom I feel like I'm experiencing over a year off medication is my ADHD. Not the bipolar or anything, just the ADHD. And honestly, yes, I've got terrible sleeping problems. I'm an insomniac. Maybe my mood swings are related to the fact that I don't sleep. Because, most people when they don't sleep are moody. So I don't understand. Of course, after leaving my aunt and not having any pets, because I had to get rid of my pets when I moved from North Carolina to move in with her, right? I got a cat. Within the last year, I acquired a cat. Now, me and this cat got along great. He was my Bran Muffin, as in like Brandon Stark, the little Lord of Winterfell, now the Lord of Westeros. But anyways, right? So, he was good. He was a good little boy. And because I was getting kicked out, my aunts had a family friend, right, come to the house, make me feel like, oh, she's gonna take him to the vet and everything, make sure he's extra okay and everything, since, you know, he hadn't seen a vet since right before I adopted him. And, well, that was well over 2 months ago. That was well over 3 months ago. That was, you know, the beginning of May. Alright. It's now almost the beginning of August, and I have not seen my son. And of course, you know, my aunt now has 2 cats of her own, right? She had 2 dogs before this, and oh, because of my mental health, I shouldn't have pets. Okay, well, first off, they give therapy animals, and usually 9 times out of 10 it's a dog. Isn't it easier to take care of a cat? Like, if I have all these mental health problems, right, and I can barely take care of myself, but yet they think, yes, a therapy animal would be good, okay, isn't it better to get a cat than a dog? Because at least the cat, you give it fresh food, you give it water, and you clean out its litter box, right, and even that sometimes you don't always have to do, right away. And guess what? The cat's fine. Cats are so much more self-sufficient. If I was to literally leave the dog with food, water, and a wee-wee pad, that dog would not be happy. Right? The cat, you leave it with food, water, and its litter box, and its toys and all that, it's happy. And my cat made me very happy. I can admit, I was suicidal and depressed. Right? Living in my agency. I got the cat. It all got better for me. I felt better, even though my roommates were still picking on me and everything and being bullies. Right? I felt better. I had the cat. I was also sleeping better. Because I am an insomniac. I find it very hard to sleep most of the time. Well, my cat, he helped me with that. So, I don't know. And then, of course, you know, I feel like I don't function normal, but I don't feel like I function like I'm unstable and everything. Okay, so I have minor cleaning issues, right, where I have a hard time sometimes remembering to pick up clothes and stuff off the floor. Is that my fault? Not fully. Yes, I can take responsibility that I should be the one picking the clothes up off the floor. But at the end of the day, who actually taught me proper cleaning skills? Who actually taught me things in my life? I still have no idea how to properly shave my legs, and even when I think I'm doing it properly, there's still hair that I thought I got that I didn't. So, did anyone even bother teaching me in, 13 and all that? Okay, so this is how you shave your legs? No. Did I have a lot of friends that were girls at that age? No. When I did try to have a sleepover with my friends who were that age, my answer, absolutely not. You are not a normal teenager. This, da, 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 da. Maybe if I got to socialize with my friends, and then, you not telling me, oh, the library is not a place to socialize. Yes, it is. You're there to read books, hang out, and everything. The library that I went to had an anime and manga club. That's where I met most of my friends. Right? And of course, that's weird too. I mean, my aunt tries to say, oh, you were a bad kid. You did this. Okay, but you had a 12-year-old me who had their mom so sick and the freedom of being able to literally ride my bike from Havelock, which is that small rinky-dink town that you bypass on Highway 70 that has the base and all the stoplights that y'all want to complain about, so now they're thinking about building a bypass. Right? And yeah, it's a small little rinky-dink town. Well, guess what? That rinky-dink town, it was so much more relaxed and freedom there. I could ride my bike from that town to Tryon Palace, to the Atlantic Beach, right? I could ride my bike, mind you, and it wouldn't be a problem. As long as I called my mom and basically, like, told her I was riding around and stuff, because I had a cell phone at a young age, because she was worried about me, and, you know, she was sick. So, I don't know. So I went from having that kind of freedom to, alright, I'm pissed off, I want to go for a walk to clear my head. No, you can't leave the house. Well, that's one of my coping strategies that I've had for years, is going out of the house and going for a walk. And then, of course, you know, when I try to talk about my feelings about, you know, the resentment and the anger and stuff from when I got put in the group home, oh, the past is the past, leave it in the past. Well, then, can you guys please do the same? Because, yeah, I took money from you in the past. Have I done that recently? No. So stop holding those past mental health problems and stuff against me. I don't need to go into another housing agency where I'm going to live with another, 62-year-old schizophrenic who does nothing but drink and smoke, right? And it seems like she's going into the hospital like every 2 weeks, and she's blaming me, right? Because I'm smoking the marijuana and I'm exasperating her COPD. Meanwhile, she drinks 2 pints of Georgie's a day. At 24 years old, I feel like drinking a pint of Georgie's a day, even with a good diet, is going to kill me. Let alone her being in her 60s, drinking 2 pints a day, and honestly, the only thing I really feel like I see her eat, right, when she comes out of her room, is soup. And not even good soup, and all that, like Campbell's, Chunky, stuff like that. No, basic Campbell's, chicken noodle, the Lipton, like little open up, pour, like ramen type thing. Right? I don't really see her eating any solid food. And then, she complains that she can't walk and go places. Well, then maybe, just maybe, because, yeah, it's a struggle to walk up to 7-Eleven, which is only about a half a mile away, right? And that you're always in the hospital. Maybe you need to go into a retirement home rather than be in mental health housing. Right, because, your mom wants you to live with her, but you don't want to. And, your dad died at 55. So you had, 40 more years with him, pretty much, than I had with my own. And you had your semi-nervous breakdown and got put in mental health housing. Now, I don't deny that at any age losing a family member is hard, but then please understand, you came into mental health housing in your 50s. I've been in mental health housing since I was 16. So, for the stuff that you kept complaining about, me having friends, stuff, and me smoking when I didn't care about you drinking or your smoking, or the fact that, our other roommate is smoking Newports right in the house, right? Because, everybody knows that marijuana is actually more dangerous to the first-hand smoker than the second-hand, whereas cigarettes are less dangerous to the first-hand smoker than the second-hand. But of course, nobody wants to listen, and if you can smoke a cigarette, there shouldn't be any difference with me smoking weed. But there is, and because I was in mental health housing and stuff, oh, Casey, you've got such a substance abuse problem, especially because you have to do it every day, and... Really? Really? can we just stop with all that? Not everybody who picks up marijuana has a substance abuse problem. Right? Just like not everyone who actually picks up their prescription of Oxy every month, has a problem. Just because somebody does something doesn't mean they have a problem. I mean, think about it. How many people a year in the U.S. die of acetaminophen? Right? Tylenol. How many people die of alcohol? How many people die of cigarettes? Now, in recorded human history, unless it's been laced with other substances, how many reported deaths have come from marijuana? Think about that. Heroin kills, which is basically Oxy. Cigarettes kill. Alcohol kills. Marijuana may make it hard to breathe over time and all that for the smoker, but hey, at the end of the day, if that's the worst drawback I'm going to face, right, I think I'm okay. Because what is it? My old upstairs neighbor, right, the one who snorts heroin and throws up right after, she's in mental health housing. Why didn't she get kicked out for doing all this heroin? Right? How come, we were both told we needed to get a therapist, a psychiatrist, primary care, all this stuff, right? Because we weren't doing it. I did all that stuff. I still got kicked out. She hasn't done any of that stuff, right? Still doing massive heroin. Last I heard, she thinks she's pregnant. And yet here I am, right, on a little vacation in North Carolina, trying to clear my head and everything. And my head's clear, honestly. Like, I know what I want, right? But nobody seems to understand and see it the way that I do. Yes, because I'm so mentally ill. I'm so not aware of what upsets me. I don't want to live with people. I've already figured that much out. Right? Unless it's like a good friend or something, I don't want to live with people. I don't even think I want to live with anyone, period. But I know I can't afford to live in New York. And yes, as my cousin wants to complain, you don't have a job. Okay, I didn't have a job because I was in mental health housing. They discourage you from getting a job. And if you do get a job when they say you can, even if you keep yourself in the hours that they tell you to and everything, guess what? They wind up cutting your benefits and you owe them money. My roommate Katie, right, my previous roommate, she got a job, was working within, the parameters that were set. She maybe went over like 1 or 2 hours, right, every week. And yeah, now she has to pay the agency, right, $200 a month to keep herself in the house, even though she's supposed to they're collecting, a Social Security benefit for her that goes specifically just to her rent. Nothing else. And now she doesn't see any money from them, and she owes them money. So, yes, I totally wanted to get a job where my whole paycheck, it feels like for a week, will go to pay my housing agency for letting me live there when they're already, what feels like taking massive money from me for what they do. Like, for instance, they take our Social Security, and then they also have to bill our insurance. Why? You're already taking a program fee. Why do you need to bill my insurance? Right. Because what kind of clinical services are y'all providing? I had a supervisor that every time she came, right, she acted mad ghetto because she was black. Not trying to be racist here or anything, but she was acting mad ghetto, acting like she's so much better than me because she's in charge of me. And every time I would get angry and try to ask questions about what was going on with me getting kicked out, right, and I'd raise my voice because I have a naturally loud voice. Bye, Casey. We'll see you next week. But you didn't answer my question. and all that. And I start yelling. I get angry. Bye, Casey. We'll see you next week. Do you need the hospital? It's like, no, I just want my questions answered. I didn't think I was getting kicked out until last second because nobody was actually answering my questions. And then my roommate Katie, while I was talking nicely about her, she's ungrateful. When I adopted my son Brandon, right, Bran Muffin? Guess what? I adopted her a cat as well. Because, what was it? Bran had his sister, and they had been together for a while, so I didn't want to separate them. They offered me a 2-for-1 adoption special, so I was like, alright, Katie's been telling me she's wanted a cat for as long as I've known her, and that's been about a year now, right? So, since I'm getting this cat for myself, let me go ahead and get her a cat at the same time, so she can be happy too. Yet, she still has to complain about, oh, I'm having people over, this, that, the third. Oh, and then I'm smoking marijuana. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. And, it's my fault also that she started popping pills again. Because when I got hit by the car, she asked me if she could have one of my oxys. Meanwhile, I only got 8. Right? Guess what? I wound up giving her like 4 out of the 8. And then splitting the rest in half for me. And it was the oxy-acetaminophen combo, so it wasn't even full Oxycontin. It was like oxycodone or whatever. Right? I gave her like 4 or 5 of those, and then the rest I split up myself into halves. And, yeah, it's my fault. You asked me. I gave it to you. I was nice. You didn't have to ask me. When I offered you the next day if you wanted one, it's simple what you say. No. Addiction is a disease, but then it's also a choice. Okay? You make the choice to say yes, and then it just takes over your mind and becomes a disease because you love how it feels. For me, it's not like that with me for marijuana. I've been on this vacation a whole week. And have I really smoked? No. I met up with one person my first day here, smoked with them, alright? I maybe smoked once the other day, and have I smoked since? No. I've gone multiple days without smoking. But yes, of course. Right. And then, when I want to switch to the cartridges, because that's what I've been trying to do, is I've only been trying to smoke the cartridges. Right, so I'm not affecting other people's health. Right, and I can still get my feelings and stuff of relaxing and the pain out of my body. And yeah, but yes, that's also a problem. But then, okay, so you're letting them hit their vapes and their Juuls and stuff in the house. What's the difference? The vapes and the Juuls are, air vapor and nicotine, right? What are the cartridges? Air vapor and THC. So it's hypocrisy then. If you hit your Juul in the house, I should be able to hit my cartridge in the house. But of course, nobody sees it like that. And of course, yes, I was impulsive while I was here in North Carolina on vacation. I told myself I was going to the shelter just to donate some money since, the shelters did amazing for Florence relief with the animals last year. But instead, my impulsiveness landed me this little girl. And I love her so much. Yes, baby, I love you. So, I don't know. I just feel like nobody seems to understand. I don't necessarily want to live with people, right? But I think I can live on my own. I don't think I need to be in mental health housing where, it's a problem if I have people over, where it's a problem if I have a pet, where it's a problem if I want to just honestly buy a bottle of wine and keep it in the fridge. Because, if staff sees the wine in the fridge, right, and say I'm not around and my roommate says it's mine, oh, well, you're not supposed to have this in the house. I've come home, right, to literally a $20 bottle of wine where I only had one glass out of it, poured out into the sink because I'm not supposed to have it and I wasn't there. And of course I can't get that $20 reimbursed. Just like I can't probably get the $10,000 worth of comics that when I moved they didn't give to me, right, that are missing from my stuff. Right? So tell me, why would I want to live in an agency that does stuff like that, where they steal your things? There are multiple people that I've talked to that when they've moved, they've noticed significant things missing, things of value. So I don't want to hear it. Alright? This agency sucks. I'd like to sue them. Right? But of course, do I have a case? This, that, the third. And of course, my cousin doesn't seem to help, who actually is the lawyer. She's the one who's saying I need to go into another housing agency. Why, though? Give me a legitimate reason why. My emotional problems? What do you mean? I talk to therapists and doctors, and they're like, honestly, you're very aware of what triggers you and what makes you unhappy and what you can try to avoid. That agency made me suicidal. Right? The circumstance made me suicidal. I myself am not suicidal. I'm very happy. Right? I may have lost all that I did, but it's good to be alive, okay? Driving down this highway, soaking up the sun, it's good to be alive. So, when my time comes, it comes. That's all. But I don't want to rush towards it. I don't want to cause it. I just want to live my life, love my life, and be happy. And honestly, I don't think another housing agency is going to make me happy at all. Because, I could deal with another schizophrenic like Anne. Could deal with another stupid Asian like Katie. No offense to all the Asians that don't live up to Asian smart standards, but she's just an extra dumb Asian. And honestly, my other roommate, right, the older one, threatened me with the IRA all the time. So is that not a delusional schizophrenic? So, I don't know. But of course, yes, I'm the one in the wrong. The kid always has to be wrong because, we're in our 60s, so we have to be right. We're grown women. Okay? So then if you're always right and stuff, and that, I don't know how to do anything, I don't do things properly, here's a bright idea. Teach me. Alright, because you're living in mental health housing, and a lot of the things that I'm doing are behavioral mental health issues, and all that. So, yeah. And then, of course, being in mental health housing as an adult, right, technically, my diagnosis of autism is no longer there, because you can't live in mental health housing with autism. And that's something my family doesn't get either. That I am just I am high-functioning autistic, right? And that maybe I'm very, very ADHD. And I don't deny the ADHD, don't deny the autism. Sometimes I don't even want to deny the bipolar. But please do not make it seem like I'm a crazy person and that I can't live on my own when you've got other family members and stuff that I'm told not to bring other people into it. But look at my cousin, right? He was having some problems before his dad died, and then now after his dad died, nobody knows what's going on and everything. He just seems closed off. Well, okay. I think that's to be expected. What is it? I want to go talk to him. Nobody wants me to go talk to him. So I don't know. I lost both my parents already. He lost one. Anyways, this is all, This is a part of who I am. This is me. Hi, I'm Cassandra.